Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watch One, and thanks for logging on. Today, it is my pleasure to introduce a watch that has more than a little bit of sentimental value to me. This is the Jaeger-LeCoultre Odysseus Chronographe caliber 630 mecaquartz. Yes, I said quartz, but mecaquartz. This watch, which is technologically really neither fish nor fowl, is nevertheless a delicious dish. 34 millimeters. In 18-karat rose and yellow gold, it represents an important chapter of the manufacturer's history, and for those who kind of launched a backlash against me for my oversized Panerai tourbillon and HYT H1 hydromechanical watch the other day, this one's for you. 34 millimeters, it is the epitome of discretion and traditional proportions. Everything about this watch, from its sub 10 millimeter thickness to the strength of its understated bimetallic gold case, is really just the epitome of dress elegance. Now, JLC in the mid-80s was really coming off the mat. The company had been essentially reduced to a component supplier for its sister firm IWC within the German instrument conglomerate VDO, and there had even been talk of folding the manufacturer and just restarting it with all the old trademarks and signage. But the bottom line was the company began to pull itself back to respectability, and in 1987 it launched the caliber 630 mecaquartz, almost concurrently with the launch of the Odysseus line of formal watches. Now, the Odysseus was a series that featured beautiful lacquered dials, bimetallic rose gold, tantalum and rose gold, and yellow gold cases with these strong fluted lugs and multiply stepped bezels, designed to show the world that JLC was back, able to take risks with daring design while respecting traditional details like lacquered dials, applied gold indices, gold hands, traditionally sized cases, and even romantic vintage style details like the doctor's pulsation scale around the outer circumference of the hour track. The Odysseus represents elegance and refinement incarnate. And as an ultra-thin reference, there isn't a dress cuff in the world that this watch will not clear. You're good to go in anything. I don't care how tight, I don't care how small your wrist is. This watch has a style thanks to the fluted lugs, thanks to the multiply stepped bezels, and you can see that it has a strongly curved case. It punches way above its weight in terms of visual impact. This watch has a strong, assertive character. It makes itself known, seen, and commands respect. Those who know high horology know JLC, and they know that a small watch can carry big surprises. This one certainly does. Moving inboard from the strength of that unconventional case profile, you see the lacquered dial, which was an important feature of the Odysseus series. Now, I've seen the contemporary of this watch, the 1989 Grand Reveil, the Alarm Perpetual Calendar. It has an enamel dial, and JLC's beautiful off-white lacquered Odysseus dials read with the same luster, depth, the brilliance of the enamel dials that JLC was beginning to issue in the Grand Reveil back then. In fact, when I first saw the Odysseus series watches, I wondered if this was in fact enamel. It is just as impressive in the flesh, and it's beautifully color-keyed, set off by white and red details around the circumference of the dial, the beautiful golden moonphase with the deep cobalt blue of the moonphase disc and the corresponding heat-blued hands for the subdials and the chronograph seconds, as well as the golden inset chapter rings for each of the subdials. This watch is a true feast for the eyes. Now, the other surprise lies just beneath that beautiful lacquered dial, and it is the caliber 630 mecaquartz movement. What does that mean? Well, the name gives it away. It's a combination of traditional fine mechanical watchmaking and quartz, blessed with no fewer than 25 jewels. If you open this watch up, you'll see that it features handmade levers, screws, wheels. Everything that you would see on a traditional mechanical watch is there in the chronograph mechanism itself. In fact, from the bottom of the movement, that is the dial side, it's almost indistinguishable from a mechanical chronograph. When you actuate the pushers, you get the crisp tactile response and auditory click that you would get in a traditional mechanical chronograph. You get the same type of pleasure of operating a mechanical watch, but with the durability, reliability, and longevity of quartz, as well as the accuracy. Now, the watch features an exotic movement. In the early 80s, JLC had begun to master quartz, and they really did master it. With calibers like the 601, they managed to get ultra-thin engineering to the point where the calibers were measuring less than 2 millimeters thick, and the entire caliber 630 mecaquartz movement with the Moonphase, with the chronograph, with the time and date functions is only 3.6 millimeters thick, beautifully finished. It's got a character and a soul that no other quartz watch can really match, because it is that sort of fusion, that bridge between the quartz era and the rebirth of the mechanical watch in Le Sentier. It's also an historic piece. And the bottom line is, because it feels like a mechanical watch when you actuate it, you get a lot of what we love about the romance of traditional mechanical watchmaking. And a watchmaker who opens this will recognize a great deal right off the bat, the same way he would have in 1950, the same way he would have in 1925. There's an interesting sort of fusion of two different worlds and two different eras at play here, but it is the best of both worlds. And I'll mention that because this movement was also used by IWC in sports watches, it's proven how hale and hardy it can be. After all, quartz watches are renowned for their toughness, and while I wouldn't exactly go, helo diving with this watch on your wrist, the bottom line is it has a movement that's been through the crucible of the IWC Ingenieur series. With the way people wear those watches, this movement is just a bit tougher than what you're going to find in any other 34 millimeter fine dress watch. Plus, inasmuch as this is a watch for a specific refined connoisseur's taste, it's probably going to be in a rotation of timepieces. And when you have a Moonphase, when you have a date, when you have the time set on a watch that's in a rotation, you don't want to have to continuously readjust them as you cycle through your watches. With the quartz functionality, you get longevity, 2 to 3 year battery life, and then an end of cycle indicator on the small second subdial where it'll jump in 2-second increments as it nears the end of its battery life. So not only is it going to keep itself topped off and running in between usage, but it's also going to let you know when it's running down. This is the perfect JLC for someone who is deeply into the history and heritage of the manufacturer. This is the perfect watch for someone who eschews the Hublots, the Audemars-Piguet Royal Oak Offshores, the jumbo ingenieurs of the modern era. If you're not into the big watch, if you're a little bit retro in your sensibility, if you like history and you love exotic watchmaking, this JLC Odysseus Chronographe caliber 630 mecaquartz is the ideal choice. Rest assured you're unlikely to ever see another, and with all the best of the mechanical and the quartz watch worlds in a single beautiful rose gold and yellow gold fluted case, you're going to have something that is truly special. It just may be the watch you want.